welcome back to the Triangle. I'm Randy. And as you can see, I got a couple of minions with me today, so there's not going to be any tractor. And we've got our implements of mass torture. Our minions are RJ and Xander. And what we're going to do today is we're going to use our implements of mass torture to kind of flatten out the garden area. So let's get to work and quit playing, boys. Let's work. Let's go. Okay, remember how I showed you? How about you, Xander?
What?
Some big rocks like this,
Yeah.
toss them out.
What if we toss them and they land back inside on another one?
Then toss them out again.
Oh, come on.
If you've ever wondered why Gru is not the world's greatest supervillain, it's because minions don't work very hard. As you can see, we did quite a bit of progress today. We got most of the garden flattened out. So, like I said, minions don't work very hard. That's why Gru is not the world's greatest supervillain. Right?
Uh-huh. He was a supervillain.
Yeah. So anyways, the reason that I didn't want to use the tractor on this is because I didn't want the tractor compressing the dirt back down that I just tilled up. Andrew and I are back out here and we're getting ready to plant some of our plants. Or actually we're going to plant all of our plants. So we've got tomatoes, okra, eggplant, bell peppers. That's what we got for now in plants. We still have seeds to plant. So we're going to get those things in the ground and get them watered. I brought my got it here in the back of the truck. I'll show you guys in just a minute my 330-gallon water tote that I'll be using to water the garden until we get water service hooked up to the property. Then I'm going to run me a line out here so I can just turn a valve on. That'll be a lot more convenient than having to fill up this water tote. It takes about 45 minutes to fill it up from the house. So we're going to get a shovel and a rake and we're going to get ready to stick some plants in the ground. Here is the layout for our garden. As you can see on the right side, this is where all the tomatoes are going to go. We're going to have 19 tomato plants, so we're going to have plenty of tomatoes. Next in line is cucumbers. We're doing both table cucumbers and pickling cucumbers. So I'm hoping that we're going to have enough pickling cucumbers that we can actually pickle some cucumbers and put them up. Next in line is sugar peas. Sugar peas is something that will probably be consumed and given away as they're harvested. I'm not a huge pea fan, but sugar peas are alright. They're the Asian sugar peas, you know, like the ones that you would find in Asian stir fry, so they're not that bad. In the next row there are peppers. I have 4 peppers shown there, but I decided I'm going to add a jalapeno pepper, so there's actually going to be 5. And next in line is eggplant. Got 2 of those, and those are the Asian variety. I think that they're called Ichiban. And they're the long, narrow eggplants. My wife is Filipino, and there is a eggplant recipe that she makes that I absolutely adore. So if we get a good amount of eggplants off, I'm going to share that recipe with you guys, because I'm telling you that is delicious eggplant. After that is okra. Okay, next you see 2 rows of great big circles, and it says sister planting. And I'm going to make a video out of this on its own. Sister planting, I'm sure you've heard of before. This is something that people have claimed Native Americans did when they plant their beans, corn, and squash together because the plants are beneficial to each other. The corn provides structure for the beans to climb. The beans provide nitrogen fixing to the soil that the corn needs, and the squash, because of its large leaves, provides shade and weed suppression for everything. I'm going to do a variation of that because I'm not a huge fan of winter squash, because what I've researched says that you're supposed to use winter squash. Not a huge fan of winter squash, so I'm going to try different squash, and I've also read that you can do it with melons. So I'm going to be using zucchini and watermelon and honeydew and cantaloupe and see how it works. And I do have some bush beans, so I'm not going to have to rely so much on the corn to provide structure for the beans, but the beans still will do nitrogen fixing for the corn. So I'm going to see how it works out. Right.
That's a lot of holes. Like that.
Yep. Right, there we go. 19 holes. Now I got to get some tomato plants in them. Let's get you down there close so you can see what I'm doing. Our first tomato is a Carmelo. Now it does not say on the tag if it is a determinate or an indeterminate. And it does, it says maturity is 70 to 75 days. But I'll have to look that up and see. I'm going to put a trellis along here for all of the tomatoes. So it doesn't matter if they're determinate or indeterminate, they're going to have a trellis to climb on. The determinate tomatoes will benefit from it less than the indeterminate tomatoes will, but they'll still benefit from it. So how I plant these pots, these biodegradable pots that you're supposed to be able to plant the plant in, I don't like them. I don't like that you have to wait for it to biodegrade before it will let the roots of the plant escape the pot. And it'd be nice if I had my knife that I could cut this open with. There we go. Take that off. Take this biodegradable pot and tear it off. That one's not too bad, but I've seen them before where they're completely root bound inside that biodegradable pot. It's not good, because when you stick it in the ground, it's going to stay that way. So take the little dead leaves off. Should probably take that whole branch off. Okay, and then these down here, because we're going to bury this deep. These ones down here at the bottom are going to turn into roots. We're going to bury that up to, no, not quite that deep. We're going to go about that deep. There we go. So all of the plant that's under the dirt is going to convert to roots. Roots are good. Roots are what helps the plant support the tomatoes that we want to have. Now I know some people are going to say you got to fill your hole when you're planting your tomatoes. You got to put stuff in it. You got to put Epsom salt, or you got to put an aspirin. I've read some other things that you got to put in your tomato hole when you plant them. I'm not putting any of that in there. I'm going to get them in there. We're going to water them in tonight. And all of that that's getting buried, that's going to turn into roots. I'll fertilize them later. Let it get started good, established well, and I'll come back and I'll put a organic fertilizer on it. A little bit more dirt. I think a lot of those old wives' tales and tricks are just old wives' tales and tricks. Okay, there we go. Carmelo is planted. Something else that I like to do is I like to put the tag that came in the pot originally next to the plant after it's planted, so that way I know what it is. Okay, I'm going to plant some more of these and then we'll move on. Okay, learning moment here. I use some terms in reference to tomatoes being determinate or indeterminate, and those may not be familiar to you. What it is a determinate tomato is one that usually grows a little bit shorter and is more of a bush, doesn't require as much support. Whereas an indeterminate is more of a vine, it'll grow taller and usually needs something to grow on, like a trellis, or what people usually use is the wire tomato baskets. I don't like the tomato baskets because to me that just seems to jam the tomatoes up into a big ball in the middle of it. So I'm going to use trellis. And actually I'm going to show you guys a trick in a later video of how I do my trellis. It's a cheat, a hack. So what we have here, we have some mystery tomatoes that was given to me by a co-worker. She doesn't know what they are. I don't know what they are. But looking at them and looking how tall they are, I'm going to guess that these are indeterminate tomatoes. So they're definitely going to need a trellis. And it's going to be interesting to find out what type of tomatoes these are when they start producing. Could be cherry tomatoes, could be something else. We're going to find out at the end of the season. I wanted to show you that we're doing something different with these long guys because they're so tall. They have a lot of stem there that we can convert to root. So what we're going to do with them, instead of planting them standing up like that like we did the other ones, we're going to lay them over on their side. And hopefully that we'll do it about like that. So that way the green part will be up above. We'll take that dead stuff off. So the leaves will be up above. And then all of this that we're going to bury is going to grow roots. And that's going to have a good root system. These are the mystery tomatoes that we talked about. So whatever type of tomatoes it's going to make, it's going to be good. There we go. Now all of that super long stem, that's all going to be roots. And it's going to feed the plant, and it's going to give us lots of mystery tomatoes. Thank you for coming by. Like I always say, down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, and hit the notify button. And help these guys out too.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, it really helps us. It helps us a lot. And 16 years to make this. Smash it!